Welcome to our lecture online. Now let's see how to convert an improper fraction into a percent. An improper fraction, of course, is a fraction whose numerator is bigger than the denominator, which means the fraction is bigger than 1. Well, let's see here. 1 is equal to 100%, which means that anything bigger than 1 must be bigger than 100%. That means the answers to every one of these four fractions must be bigger than 100%. All right. The next thing we should do is see if we can simplify the fraction. Can the numerator and the denominator be divided by the same number? In other words, make it into a smaller looking fraction with smaller numbers. And yes, indeed, we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. This gives us 6 divided by 4. And then again by 2, this gives us 3 divided by 2. The next thing we do is take a look at the denominator and see if we can fit the denominator evenly into 100. In other words, can we change the denominator to 100? And the answer is yes, because 2 times 50 is 100. This could then be written as 3 divided by 2. I'm going to multiply the denominator times 50 and multiply the numerator times 50. Of course, we have to do the same thing with the denominator as the numerator. Now this becomes 150 divided by 100. And again, the rule is that any fraction that has 100 as a denominator, we simply take the numerator and put a percent sign behind it. This then is 150%. 12 divided by 8, which can be written as 6 over 4 or 3 over 2, is 150%. How about this one? Well, we don't have an even number in the numerator, so we cannot simplify that any further. I do know that my answer is going to be something bigger than 100% because the fraction is bigger than 1, but we can't simplify it. I can't take the denominator and turn it into 100. So the next thing to do would be to, do a long division and see what happens. We take the numerator, 23, and divide it by the denominator, 16. 16 goes into 23. 1 times 16 is 16. The remainder is 7. I put a decimal place there, put a decimal point there, add a 0. Come down here, 16 goes into 70, not quite 5. How about 4 times? 4 times that is 64. The remainder is 6. Add another 0, drive down the 0. 16 goes into 60, 3 times, because 3 times 16 is 48. Remainder is 12. Add another 0. 16 goes into 120. Let's see here. That would be 7 times. Yeah, let's try that. 7 times. 7 times 6 is 42. Put down the 2, remember 4. 7 times 1 plus 4, that's 11. Remainder is 8. Another 0, bring it down. 80. Well, 16 goes into 80 exactly 5 times. 5 times 16 is 80. And the remainder is 0. Now I have a decimal. I can say that 23 divided by 16 is the same as 1.4375. Now we employ the rule to take a decimal and change it to a percentage. We simply have to move the decimal point over 2 spots. This is therefore equal to 143.75%. Our next example. Let's see, can we simplify that at all? It doesn't look like it. So what we're going to do here is again do a longhand division. 22 divided by 15. 22 divided by 15. 15 goes in 22 1 time. My remainder is 7. A decimal point there and a decimal point there. Add a 0. 15 goes into 70. 4 times 15 is 60. The remainder is 10. Add another 0. 15 goes into 100. 6 times 15 is 90. Remainder is 10. Wow, I'm getting the same remainder. I had a remainder of 10 here. I have a remainder of 10, which means that as I keep doing this, I'm going to keep getting the numbers 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, and so forth forever. In other words, 22 divided by 15 is the same as 1.46666, and so forth. Or I can say this is equal to 1.46 with a line on top. That line means that the 6 will just continue forever. Now I'm ready to turn this into a percent. Maybe I'll have one more 6 in there. I'll show you why. add one more 6 there, put the line there, because I'm going to move the decimal place over 2 spots, and write this as 146.6 with a line over it, percent, which means the 6 keeps going forever, and so it's between 146 and 147%. Finally, 35 divided by 27. Again, it doesn't look like I can simplify that. I need to use the longhand division technique. I come up here, I take the number 35 and divide it by 27. 27 goes in 35 one time. 1 times 27 is 27. The remainder is 8. Put a decimal place there, put a decimal place there, add a 0. 27 goes into 80, not quite 3 times, that's 2 times. That means 2 times 27 is 54, the remainder is 26. Add another 0, 27 goes into 260 9 times, 9 times 7 is 3, remember 6, 9 times 2 is 18, plus 6 is 24, remainder is 17, 27 goes into 17, oh, I can't do that yet, I have to drop down a 0. 27 goes into 170, let's see here, that would be 5. Let's try 6 times. 6 times 7 is 24. That's 20, that's 16. Remember 8. And now notice that I have the same remainder here as I have over here, which means that those last 3 numbers are going to keep repeating. So 1.296 and 296 and 296 forever, which means I can now write my fraction here as 1.296 with 3 lines on, with a line over those 3 numbers, meaning that those 3 numbers will continue to repeat forever, which means that we can write this as, if we move the decimal place over 2 spots, this can now be written as 129.6. I can repeat the 2 and the 9 right here, put a line over it, and call that percent. So what I did here was I added the numbers 2 and 9 again, because I know that's going to repeat. Put the decimal place over there, write it as a percent, and now we know that the number 629 will just keep repeating forever after the decimal place. And that's how we convert fractions to decimals, either by reducing the fraction to a point where I can make the denominator into 100, or by simply doing longhand division and then moving the decimal place over 2 spots. Notice in some cases you have repeating numbers, so you have to take that into account when you write the number as a percent. And that's how it's done.